You shared with me, and I'm going to link to it. You shared with me the origin story for you for On Point. Are
Yes,
you willing to share that story here?
I would love to share that. That's the origins of the I nailed it feeling. Oh,
Yeah.
I'll see if I can do this succinctly. My first job out of college was at a worldwide ad agency in Chicago. And I was so lucky to work in the Wrigley building right on Michigan Avenue. And I worked in the account service department. And I had a client, it was Bayer Aleve, and I was in charge of conducting a massive competitive review for the client and presenting that to them, which means I had to collect all the data and all the branding and messaging for all of the competitors that we were going to be in this category with. And it was an incredibly daunting project because due to the category, we had at least 20 or more companies. And
Yeah.
I was terrified of how I was going to attack this. With a little nudging from my boss, who handled the situation very well, actually, when I was procrastinating, I got to it and I was able to turn and do kind of a 180 and became very excited about the project. And finally, it was time for me to get out and present this at the offices in New Jersey for Bayer. And I had a promotion on the line. It was, if I could do well with this presentation, I would absolutely earn that promotion. And so I went into the room, and there were about 150 or 200 male managers. I was one of 4 or 5 women in the room. It was a very large conference room. And my boss was in the front row and some other supervisors. And I had about 90 slides that I had to deliver. It was well over an hour presentation. But Jim, I had worked so hard to nail this message. And I still remember the feeling of being both excited and naturally nervous. And this is a story I pull from a lot when I work with my clients. There's a natural nervousness that's good, that is okay, that is normal. Mm-hmm. And then there's also this excitement because you know that message so well. And you've already told yourself, there is no one in this room that knows this information as well as I do. And that's the information I brought with me that day that allowed me to totally nail that pitch. And the phrase I nailed it came from my boss. Because when I was finished and I took all the Q&A, she looked at me square in the eyes and she said, Cindy, you nailed it. And I knew it. And I felt amazing. And I got that promotion. And I just was on top of the world. So it was a feeling, I think it was one of the very first times I really understood that public speaking was my gig and that I loved being in front of that group and delivering something with passion and, you know, all of the things that had come together for me. And it was an amazing, amazing moment. So I try to help my clients see that moment in their upcoming presentations. Yeah. And we learn how to nail it when they get on the stage.
That's super cool. So, you know, without going too much into it, what is your process to help your clients nail it?
Absolutely. I have a process called, it's actually a program, and it's called Speech, and it's an acronym. And so it's at my website, and it's easy for people to understand. We talk first in conversation about what is the objective of working together. For the speech program, that means you have an actual specific talk that's coming up. Maybe it's a TED Talk or some kind of investor pitch or a sales presentation. And we talk about the strategy first and where you are with your talk. Maybe you haven't done anything. Maybe you have a slide deck that needs refining. And then we look at the P is preparation and how we're going to prepare that message. And that's where we do some digging in the rhetorical triangle and the storytelling. The E's are evaluate and edit. And that means that either together or separately, we edit down or create some new material that will enhance that message. The C is for convene, which means we're going to convene an audience. And one of the first times that I worked with someone, she was preparing for a TEDx talk that was coming up, and I thought to myself, well, how am I going to get her to practice in front of a large group so she can kind of mimic this really large onstage experience. And so I called my kid's school principal and I said, hey, listen, I've got a TEDx speaker coming, that I'm working with. Wouldn't it be great for some of the students at the high school to hear her and come and give her a chance to present in front of them? It would be a win-win for both sides. So he canceled the staff meeting that day, and I brought Tanis in, and she got on the stage and had a real opportunity to practice in the type of space that she was going to eventually be in. And I remember walking out, and she did really well, and it was well received. But she said to me, Cindy, I'm so glad we did this because I am not wearing these shoes on Saturday. So convening an audience is just so important. And it doesn't have to be in an auditorium. It can be one other person, but you need to perform it so that you have it coming out of your mouth, and you've got it, you're laying tracks in your brain, and I've got a bunch on how to rehearse. The H in the speech program is a highlighting document that I provide that shows kind of where we started and how you grew and what to do in the future as you move ahead.
I love that. So not only are you helping them prepare from beginning to end to nail the speech, but you're also giving them development work to grow beyond that as well.
Well, I knew coming into coaching, and maybe you have had this too, Jim, I thought I really would like to give people a beginning, a middle, and an end to this process so that they are more likely to see the value. And that has been one of the best moves that I've made in growing On Point, is just to provide people with packages, just like you would provide a package for any other item or business. And that's been a good thing that I've been able to do. So